Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of All at Once. I am your host, Alexis Christine. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining. This is a podcast all about inner growth, spiritual healing, any holistic healing topics, everything basically esoteric. If you kind of get the vibe, you get the vibe. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back and listening to another episode. I'm so excited to have you guys. So you guys, there is a lot happening in the world right now, and we are on the precipice, or we are already in actually the Great Awakening, okay? There's so much of humanity that is slowly waking up. Their consciousness is rising, and there's a lot of systems and things that are crumbling. And with that always comes a lot of feelings of being scared, feeling stuck, feeling lost, not really knowing what the heck is happening anymore, and just feeling like you don't know where to go or what to do next. So today's episode is going to be all about how to know that you're ready to make a change or to make a shift when the situation that you're in is no longer serving you. I have a lot of experience with this. I have been through quite a lot of shifts in my life the last few years on the end of my own spiritual awakening, just everything I went through with quitting my corporate job, starting my own business, moving out of London into Costa Rica, and just doing all of these crazy life changes that a lot of people looked at me and were like, what is this girl doing? But it's because I realized that the situation was no longer serving me, and I had to follow my highest truth and just go to where my intuition was telling me. So this episode's going to help you understand how to know when a situation is no longer serving you and when it is time to make a change versus when you're just in a period of cocooning, because that is a thing that also happens sometimes when we have these big awakenings or we have these massive moments of growth and expansion. We then come back into these cocooning phases. It's duality. It's the law of life. There is no expansion without contraction. There is no light without the dark, right? That's what being on earth is. It's experiencing duality in a human form. That's why our souls come and reincarnate here. That's part of the reason. And so basically understanding the difference between being in that contraction phase, in that cocooning, versus when it actually is time just to make a shift. So as you guys know, if you've been listening, I had a very wild, traumatic, crazy spiritual warfare situation happen in Costa Rica when I was living there. And that situation, I knew deep down was not serving me, but I was too scared to make the change. I was too scared to make the choice to leave. And I ignored all the signs, right? And that's what I don't want for you guys, which is why I'm making this episode, because at the end of the day, while it was in my highest good and I did learn a lot, there was likely an easier, less tumultuous and traumatic way to learn those lessons and move through those things than the version or timeline that I chose. And now I'm at the place after going through that, when something doesn't serve me, I fucking listen. I listen. I don't question anymore. It might feel scary. I might not understand it. But when those signs and those feelings come through where I'm like, actually, I know that this isn't good for me anymore, I just do it because I know that at the end of the day, it's going to benefit me in the end. So this will hopefully teach you how to stand firmer in your truth, how to set your boundaries, and to not be scared when making a change. The first sign, okay, that you are ready for a major shift in your life is that things just stop flowing. Things are starting to feel really hard. You're having to put more effort into things than normal, and it just nothing really feels like it's working. This could be that you've just had an energy upgrade and you need to shift to move to a new level, or it could be that in order to receive the next upgrade, in order to reach the next level of growth, you need to shift your environment. So if things aren't flowing, don't be scared to make a change. And they don't have to be big changes. It doesn't have to be an Alexis level change where I quit my job, leave my country, and move to a whole new continent. That's very me, but it is also very extreme. It can be small changes like changing up your routine, changing up your hobbies, maybe shifting your workflow, or if you're kind of feeling like things at work aren't flowing, go to a different department, see if you can shift things around internally or just start learning about something new. Like, it doesn't have to be these crazy, wild changes that are portrayed all over social media as like these big life-changing moments. It can be small changes within your current environment that shift your narrative, that shift your perspective, and that push you into something new, like maybe even trying a new sport that can create the shift that you're looking for. So the second sign is kind of branching off of this thing of not being in the flow, but it's when things aren't working. And I know it kind of sounds flowy, but it's different. So let me explain. I'm not talking about when you try something once and you fail and it didn't work. I'm talking about the times when things just aren't working. So you've tried it a million times. You've tried a million different tactics. You've put the work in. You've tried 1,010%. You've analyzed the things. You've looked at all of the different ways to do things, and you've tried different methods and it's just not working. That's when you know it's time to shift. It's time to move on. Whatever you're trying to do is likely not in alignment with your energy at the moment. It's not in your highest good. It's not the timeline that is going to benefit you in this moment. And really what that is just a sign that there's something better for you out there. And it's a sign to detach, because a lot of times we actually block ourselves from manifestations and from amazing opportunities coming in because we get so attached to what we think we want, these goals we're setting, our manifestations, whatever it is. And we think that it should look a certain way, and we get so tied to that idealization. We get so tied to what we think it's going to look like or feel like or whatever it is, that we actually are holding on to it, keeping that attachment there. And there's no room, there's no opportunity for what we're actually trying to manifest to come in. We need to detach, we need to let go of it and create space for the universe to bring us whatever it is that we're trying to manifest, that we're trying to build for ourselves in whatever way is actually best for us, because what we think is best might not actually be the best possible option for us at that time. Sign number 3 is if you feel stagnant, it is time for a shift. And this is where I kind of want to talk about feeling stagnant versus just being in your cocooning phase, because they're two different things, right? So when I'm in a cocooning phase, and say this is like after you've had a really bad breakup. For me, it was after my friend took his life and I was in a very deep place of grief, healing from all the trauma in Costa Rica and then the trauma of losing him. You know, when you're in those moments that, yeah, it's a dark place. Yeah, you're depressed. There's other things happening, whatever. But you know that there is another side to it. You know that you're growing through that experience. And when you come out on the other side, there's going to be a massive expansion, right? You're in the cocooning phase. You're healing. You're doing the inner work. You're allowing yourself to rest. Even if you're not actually doing any healing modalities, just allowing yourself to be is going to slowly calm your nervous system. Like, there's different things that happen in these cocooning phases that are preparing us for the bigger expansion, right? So if that's currently what you're going through, then this does not apply to you. This is not the stagnancy I am referring to. And again, another thing I want to say, if you're feeling like your days may be a little bit monotonous, you're going through the motions, you have the same routine every day, but you're seeing progress, you're not stagnant because you're progressing. So it might be a little bit boring, but again, you're in some sort of growth phase that might feel like it's very blah and that you're not going anywhere. But if you're actually seeing progress in what you're doing, then you are growing. You might need to like add a little thing here or there to maybe excite it up a little, but don't change because it's working, you know? Like, don't just completely shift if what you're doing is working and you're just a little bored. What I'm talking about is when you cannot see why you're doing what you're doing. You cannot figure out what you want. You just feel like you're stuck and you have no idea what you're working towards. That's the level of stagnancy where you know you have to make a shift. And sometimes it can be hard when you're in that place of stagnancy because it's like, well, I don't know what I'm working towards. I don't know what I want. How do I know what I want? Like, if I knew what I wanted, then I'd be working towards it. It kind of like is this vicious cycle, but it really is getting down to, what is it that you're feeling? And what do you want to feel? That's one of my favorite things when I don't know what I want to manifest, but I know that I want to shift or I want to change something. I look at how I'm feeling now, what I want to feel, what are the things that kind of help me feel like that? And then once I've kind of figured out how it is I want to be feeling and what new energy I want to bring in, I can either just manifest feeling that and let the universe bring me opportunities that I would never have expected, or I can figure out specifically within that what can bring me there and start manifesting and working towards that. And sign number 4 is if your spark for life is gone. And I genuinely mean like you just feel numb, you feel empty. Think about if you have seasonal depression, how you're so happy in the summer and you have the sun and whatever, and then you come into winter and you just feel empty inside. That is a sign you need to shift. I know seasonal depression is a thing that a lot of us struggle with. I personally struggle with it as well, which is why I usually am not here in the winter. But that's still a sign that you need to shift. It's not something that should be normalized. It's a sign that your energy does not work well with this type of climate or weather, and you should shift out of it so that you can hold your high vibration and feel good within your body, within your energy all year round. Obviously, it's normalized because people live here and just deal with it every year. People can't just mass leave a country. But if it's something that you're feeling like your spark for life is just gone and you're feeling empty, like, yeah, make a shift or find things that you can do within your environment that bring that spark back, even if you don't have the means to leave. And again, this is different from going through a period of grief or a period of loss or heartbreak or whatever it is, because in those moments you might feel like that, but you know that you're coming out of the other side, you know? It's just a cocooning phase. But this is just genuinely like, I'll give you an example. When I was living in Costa Rica and I was dealing with the energy vampire and all of the traumatic situations and whatever else that was happening, I became so numb to life. I would cry a lot. I was in a very a deeply depressive emotional state, and I would pretend that I was happy, but I didn't feel that inside. And my wake-up call was when I went on a trip to Maui with the girls, and we were sitting on Maui in a beautiful resort, a trip we had manifested, free accommodation, waterfront right by the ocean, ordering drinks, ordering food, whatever. And any normal person would be super excited, would be filled with happiness, would be filled with joy, would be so excited to be there with 3 of their best friends, just like having the best, most galactic Earth mission and whatever. And I was numb. I felt absolutely nothing. There was no happiness. There was no excitement. There was no joy. There was no anticipation of what was going to happen on the trip. I genuinely just felt empty. And I remember saying to them, I was like, guys, why do I feel like this? I should be feeling so different right now. Why am I feeling like this? And that was my big wake up call, especially when I finished the trip and went back to Costa Rica and went back into that environment. I was like, holy, this is not good. This is not good at all. So if you're like how I was feeling and you just feel dead inside and there's like nothing that can shift that in the environment that you're in, that's when you know you need to make a massive shift. And by shift, I mean like shifting in a positive way. So this can be moving. This can be finding new friends. It can be trying a new hobby, kind of like how I mentioned earlier, a new job, a new routine, going exploring. Like they don't need to be these massive shifts. Again, it can be something super small that just kind of changes the energy of your day. Start researching random topics that you've always been interested in. Do something that you've always wanted to do and just never got around to. Like there's so many different ways you can shift without doing these crazy life changes like I do. And it will make such a big impact in your day, and it will help you feel like you're actually doing something with your life again and not just sitting in this place of feeling stuck and stagnant. However, if you are feeling like making a drastic change, like quitting your job or moving countries, just please be smart, be responsible. If you aren't financially secure, maybe look at securing a job before you quit your current one, or find a way to be financially secure. Like maybe make sure you have enough finances to cover your living situation until you get a new job. Or if you're going to move countries, make sure you've done research on the job market there, what things are going to cost, that sort of thing. Like just make sure you're smart about it. Don't make a very rash on the whim decision and go in with absolutely no information, because you could end up in a not very great situation. One of the hardest things to do as a human is to detach from things that we create as part of our identity. And when we actually do choose to detach and let go from those things that we know are no longer serving us and that we need to release to create room for new things to come in, no matter how scary it is, the universe truly does reward you. It's happened with me multiple times when I've made these very big decisions. Example, leaving Costa Rica. Example, quitting my corporate job. Just really letting go of the things that I know don't serve me, even though it feels really hard and really scary. And I've been rewarded with the most amazing opportunities straight after. I've seen it happen with my sister. She quit a job that she was really nervous about. She had literally just gotten hired and she was so nervous because she had a couple training days and was like, this is not what I want. I can't do this. Quit. And then I want to say a few days later was given an opportunity that was like her absolute dream. I've also seen it with my friends. I've seen it with my clients. The universe does reward you for really standing in your truth and honoring the things that do light you up and releasing the things that don't light you up. Because as a human, we get very attached to what our identity is, right? And we like pizza has become a personality trait, like someone who loves pizza, that's like a thing now. Whereas before people just ate pizza and it didn't matter. Or like with me, for example, I will admit part of my identity is the fact that I'm a gold girly. I don't wear silver jewelry. I am like gold head to toe all the time, even in my clothes, even on my purses. Like I just don't do silver. And that has become part of my persona, part of my identity, right? But right now it's fine because it serves me. Eventually, if it doesn't serve me, I'll have to release that part of my identity and find a way to be okay with it, even if it feels like, fuck, I'm going to have to redo all of my jewelry. I'm going to have to buy all new things, or like all of the stipulations and the stress and whatever that comes with changing. When you actually do just make the decision to let go of something that's no longer serving you, regardless of how tied to it you are, the universe really, 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 truly does reward you with the most beautiful, amazing blessings. And you can truly start living a life that feels so much more in alignment, that really just sparks you and lights you up in such a beautiful way that holding on to these things that no longer serves us doesn't do. I hope that all makes sense. I feel like there were some sections where I probably started rambling, even though I have my notes and I'm like trying to stay on course. But I hope that makes a lot of sense to you guys. And I hope that you understand where I'm coming from, what I'm trying to say. And if it doesn't, and I've just confused you more, again, please just DM me at iam.alexischristine, Instagram or TikTok, or comment below and let me know. And I'll try and clarify for you in a more digestible way. And I hope that it was useful for you guys. I hope that you learned a lot from it. And again, if you like the episode or if you're enjoying the podcast, please give it a rating. Please share it to your friends or on your socials, because the more people that we can reach with this podcast and with the information in the episodes, the more people that we can help on their journey as they're awakening and kind of moving through life and healing and doing all of those types of things. I hope you guys have such an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon.